Hi, everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Flock Talk. I'm Robin Sullivan of the Leather Elves. It's good to see you guys. We've had a couple weeks off. Nick was off at AFA and ASA, which I understand were both phenomenal. So I've got the usual reminders that I need to do for you guys before we get started. You can like the Leather Elves on Facebook. That way you'll get notifications when we go live, and you can catch surprise sales and pop-up events, things. And you can follow the Leather Elves on Instagram, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. So tonight, we're kind of excited. We've got something new that we're starting that we wanted to announce, and it's called the Foraging Flock. It is going to be a membership group. You can I'm going to read my paper because there are a lot of different benefits. There are monthly meetings. Sometimes there'll be presentations. Sometimes there'll be Q&As. Sometimes they will be just discussion forums. It'll be a place where you can feel very comfortable to ask questions. We don't have the answers to your questions, we will find them for you. You also get a free foraging toy when you sign up as a member. You will get a foraging toy on your bird's hatch day. There will be special member sales and discounts throughout the year that will not be available to non-members. You will also special DIY kit offers that are exclusive to members. I know you guys go DIY, I have to make them myself, but we can have fun doing that, and we can talk about why they're important, and how you can use them differently for your birds. And I'll also be offering discounted behavioral consults to members. So if any of those things sound like they're interesting to you, or someone you know could benefit from being a Foraging Flock member, please send them to the leatherelves.equid.com, and you can purchase it's a year membership, and it's $100. And if you look at the benefits of what you'll get for that 100, I think it's well worth it. So I hope that we can get a bunch of you guys together and we can do the Foraging Flock, and we will determine when that's going to occur, what days each month, and then we'll go from there. So exciting new stuff happening. Tonight, I have a guest who I have known for quite a while, and she and I don't usually get to work together because we're usually going off in different directions. But it is my pleasure tonight to introduce you guys to Debbie Goodrich. Hey, Debbie. So I was going to ask you for a bio, Debbie, and I said, you know what? Reading a piece of paper is not going to do justice to this lady. So can you share with people who Debbie Goodrich is? But we only have, an hour.
5 minutes.
Ready to go.
All right. So who am I? I am known as the Parrot Lady. I've been the Parrot Lady for 25 years. And if you ask me what my gender identity is, it's the Parrot Lady. If you ask me how my family identifies me, it's the Parrot Lady. And exactly what is that? Anything and everything that has to do with parrots. I've been doing parrot educational programs now for 3-year-olds on up for, oh gosh, 25 years is how old Ollie is, and Jesse as well. And that's kind of the primary function that I've had for many years. And before that, Ollie and Jesse were hired and owned by Rainforest Cafe. So I was the curator of Rainforest Cafe first, then became Parrot Lady, and now this crazy flight club thing. So, and the list of like accreditations and titles, I mean, Robin's list is longer than mine. So, oh, please. I mean, come on. You've got a lot more credentials on there.
I'm just
So,
older.
yeah. So, anyway, so anything and everything that has to do with parrots, I'm all on it, like a fly on you know what. So, yeah.
So there's more to Debbie. I know you've worked with marine mammals. You've worked in supporting conservation. There's so much. You guys get to see Debbie, and you see her at events, and she's amazing as a parrot ambassador. But there's a lot more to Debbie than you guys get to see. So next time you guys run into Debbie at a conference, talk to her about all the cool stuff she's done. So
Well,
Um,
same with you, girlfriend. I mean, you got to work with Kakapo. I mean, that's a way one up on me. I mean, oof, yeah.
yeah, I was afraid I was gonna break it, like, when I was holding it, it was more fear than elation, but,
Yeah.
so tell us about Flight Club. Some people don't know what Flight Club is.
Well, the first thing is I can tell you about Flight Club, but not the other one out there in that movie. So definitely talk about Flight Club, where it's perfectly okay to talk about us. So Flight Club Foundation is a nonprofit 501c3, actually licensed in Washington State Parrot Humane Society and networking organization. So our biggest mission is connecting people to parrots, so that way people can understand the impact their behavior has on the future of both parrots and people. So,
Mhm,
and then try to improve the welfare piece. We have, limited amounts of, shall we say, rescue ability. We have a little bit more on the behavioral aspect that we can help with, and a lot of just online advice, a lot of the like, recovering of birds that fly off. So the primary mission of Flight Club Foundation is basically keeping everyone connected and going and active in the community. And hopefully, like, that's why we post all the different events that go on, ASA,
mhm.
AFA, whatever event that's going on. We want people going to it live, because then you can care more about people, care more about each other, and care more about the animals we are passionate about.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great, um, mission or goal because it is so important for all of us to stay connected, whether it's whatever branch of aviculture you happen to be part of. I think
Yep.
Flight Club Foundation embraces all of that, and I think that's a great message.
Yes, we call it the wheel. So with the wheel, to get it to roll, you need all aspects. Every aspect is critical to the
Mhm,
future of parrots. So a lot of people go like, well, you shouldn't have them as pets. And I get where they're coming from, because we see a lot of the really bad situations that happen out there.
mhm,
And at the same time, if we don't have them, what I see happening in conservation and stuff like that is when we ban things here, it goes to black market there. And then black market, is obviously very, very difficult to track and very, very difficult to keep like any animal in good welfare, because it's
mhm.
now all black market instead of legal market. And then when everything's in black market, oh my gosh, it just everything goes into poaching, and so it's really important to support all of it. So that means
Mhm,
support rescue, support your sanctuaries, support the breeders, support all of the different industries, the pet industry, everything, and the zoological. And it's really hard because all of us have the really dynamic, differing opinions and diamond like, looks on things, and trying to put that diamond together into an actual diamond
mhm.
was difficult. I mean, we all have some really seriously passionate pieces, but I like them to stay on that facet of the diamond. That piece is necessary to have that passion
Yeah,
there, and this one here, and then that one there, because together we make the diamond or the
right.
wheel.
And I've referred to it before as aviculture is like a giant spider,
Yeah.
that it has all these legs, and if one leg isn't there, the spider tips over. And I
Yes.
think we need to really um, think about before we disparage another leg of the community. We need to think about how that fits in, and
Yes.
how do we work together. And I love that Flight Club has all of those pieces. So
We certainly
good.
try.
No,
It's
you do.
like
And
herding cats.
wait, so how did it come about in the first place? How did Flight Club Foundation get started?
Oh, thank you for that question. Flight Club Foundation was started when I was pregnant, of all things, with my kiddo, because I had to not do my plan of full time parrot lady work. So I had to go into part time work. And then I was like doing all these mommy groups, and there's a whole bunch of really big bird clubs in our area, and they were very successful. So I'd visit them and support them where we could. And we had like 5 major events in our area, like
Mhm.
Aesop's Bird Fair, the South Sound Exotic Bird Society's Bird Fair, NWeb's Bird Fair, and then we had the Olympic Bird Fanciers, and then they had the Kitsap Fair, and we would go and help all that. And unfortunately, almost all of it has collapsed.
Mhm.
And so, as we were keeping ourselves Fight Club, shh, we're not here, we're not flying, keep it quiet, invitation only. While we were doing that, that collapse was going on. And I saw the collapse going on, and I was trying to reach out to help where I could, and they were just tired. I mean, there's a
Mhm.
lot of work involved to do these organizations. So we just basically once a friend of ours named Brandon Butler of all people, he came and filmed us with Parrot Earth, and he put it all out there. And he's like, "Hey, by the way, there's this club," and all of a sudden, whoa, wildfire! And then we had some members that wanted to go. I want to do like an event, and I've been waiting to do an event for a while, and finding the people and trying to work with people. And the group was the group that was that little flight club group. And then they were like, yeah, let's do an expo. I'm like, okay, let's call it Seattle Parrot Expo. So that's what really the official foundation of Flight Club happened to create Seattle Parrot Expo. So that way, Seattle Parrot Expo had a foundation to start from. And that's where
Nice.
Flight
Well,
Club started.
so before we talk
2013.
about 2013, that was a good year. That's when I met Mark.
Ooh, yeah,
So
it is a good year.
so the before we talk about the expo and
Yeah.
all that goes into that, Flight Club Foundation, you meet as a group, correct? How does that
Yep.
work?
It's complicated. We're always going to open with that one, right?
Never easy.
Because obviously, you have to worry about personalities. You also have to worry. The biggest one is you have to worry about is zoonotic disease.
Mhm.
And I worked at Rainforest Cafe with that extreme management of zoonotic disease at the forefront. And so I
Mhm.
came into this whole thing going, no way, we're not bringing birds together that we don't know, members we don't know, birds. Oh my gosh, this is a big, massive zoonotic nightmare. And if you talk to some of the veterinarians, they're going to totally concur and they're going to totally agree. And they're going to say, don't bring birds together because of these potentials. But what we've seen in the now, since 2013 to now, right? So, in the
Mhm.
time that we've done this, the birds that have participated in the fly days, the parrot play dates, we call them, um, every single one of them have been so emotionally charged, so like stimulated mentally. We really have not seen, knock on wood,
Mhm.
occurrence of disease. What we're seeing actually is a reduction of the heart disease, a reduction of the stereotypical behavior at home because they came out of the home. And we've been
Mhm.
so scared about bringing our birds out of the home that we aren't taking them out of the home. And then they are now bored in the home and they have nothing else but being in the home. And so we're trying to say, no, there's opportunities to take them out. Put them in a birdie backpack and take them for a walk.
Mhm.
Whatever it takes, we do it. But obviously, with the big risk factor being bringing them together in the same space. So we do try
Mhm.
to divide out the space so each person has a tables and their birds space.
Okay.
But we also do the veterinary board advisories, which is the CBC and
Mhm.
blood chemistries at least once a year if we can. We
Nice.
don't do the disease testing as much, but the blood chems are necessary because then we know that that bird's capable of dealing with potential exposures.
So can anybody who's out in your area, can anybody come to a Flight Club fly day or like a play date?
Yes. So the play
Okay.
dates are free for anybody of the community who does not have a bird to come and join us at any time. As a matter of fact, now because of that, we now have a partnership with Metro Parks Tacoma, where we get the space in exchange for doing our community service work with them there. And we see some very, very, very impoverished people coming in there that just are blown away by like, whoa, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It's out of my scope. I've never even opened my mind to this, and now they're opening their minds and now more people are coming in. It's here and there, obviously, like sometimes there's only one person at a play date, and it's kind of nice
Mhm.
because then you can train your bird and have all this time focusing only on you and your bird in a large space. Other times we have like 32 birds there or more. So it just depends on the day, or if like we're planning an
Mhm.
expo or something, kind of like
Mhm.
tomorrow, by the way, is a play date. So
Ah,
make sure to come and check us out. We'll be in Tacoma tomorrow from 12 to 3. So
nice.
if you guys want to see us, but we do ask you come to see us, see the buildings, see the birds, see everything first, then submit your records to me second. So
Mhm.
that way I know, I can look at everything. Yep, that bird looks like it's in good shape with its blood chems that I can see.
Mhm.
And then once that happens, you can then start coming. And it's only like, if you bring one bird, it's only $30 a year. If you bring a family,
Wow.
it's $40 a year. So
Nice. No, I think that's
pretty
great. And the location and is on the flightclubfoundation.org. Is that
yeah.
where people can find
And
that
it's at the
information?
People's Community Center. And it's
Okay.
on Martin Luther King Boulevard in Tacoma. So
Excellent. Okay.
the Hilltop
And while you're
Garden.
there, after you do that, you can swing by Kiko's Toy Chest. I mean, sorry,
Yes,
Kiko's Toy. Oh, it's been
that's
so long.
right. The
Sorry,
parrots, yes.
Jody. Um, but so all right. So we've got Flight Club Foundation. You're doing amazing things. Now, you also mentioned that you are a registered humane society. Is it, humane
Yes.
society? Okay. So what does that mean to the
Well,
community?
it's really interesting because I thought it was going to mean more and require more, honestly.
Okay.
So what it means is that we have a board certified avian veterinarian as a part of our board. Her name is Dr. Bridget Ferguson at a Pine Tree Veterinary Hospital. And because of the triage work we started during the pandemic and helping get owners care and get the birds care, we went to the state and is like, well, we need to be first responders to help get
Mhm.
this medication to bird owners and then help the birds get to the vet because it's such a small niche. It wasn't really considered during the pandemic. So we saw a great need and then we filled it because I was just out going everywhere, taking birds everywhere, taking medication everywhere, bringing food everywhere. And then we would film a bird in a situation. I would send the text to Bridget and go, okay, does this bird need to come in? Yes or no? And then she'd be like, yes. And so we would use her to say, evaluate to the owner and go, she really thinks this bird needs to go in. And so let's take him in. Or
Nice.
no, this bird looks like he's going to be stable for now. Let's keep an eye on things. Her recommendation is maybe to give some meloxicam right now for some pain, whatever. And then this is the dose because we weighed the bird there, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So that's kind of
So
how it
we've got
works. But it turns out you don't need a facility. And
yeah.
that kind of worries me a little bit. And so that's where we're hoping to get at some point is having a separate facility. But that's when we have more money. So we're working on
Well, so we need
that.
to work on that.
Yeah.
So I've got some chat on the live stream here that Kathy says it's Sunday. The flight day is Sunday.
Sunday. Yes, it is
So you
Sunday. Oh,
said
sorry,
okay,
you're
so
right.
it's not
Tomorrow's
Saturday,
Saturday, isn't it?
right?
Oh my
You have a
gosh,
whole
I'm off.
extra day now. So it's Sunday. Okay, so
It's
just so
Sunday.
nobody shows up on Saturday, the fly
Yeah,
day
it's
is
Sunday.
Sunday.
I forgot.
Okay.
Tomorrow is Saturday. I keep thinking today is Saturday. So sorry.
So, all right, Seattle Parrot Expo. I have
Yes,
to
ma'am.
tell you guys, I have been, and it is a fantastic event. I have been to events all over the country, and I was okay. It'll be good. Debbie does a nice job. It's an incredible, incredible event. So, what's the mission for the expo, Debbie?
I call it my orchestra. It's my grand performance. It's the reflection
And
of who I am that I want to share with the world. That's kind of
yeah,
what it is.
and
And
it's
and then all the people that can become involved with it. I mean, look at all this. This is just amazing. And this all comes from any person can kind of just bring all this stuff together. And then it's really interesting when you have autism like I do, you see connections that so many people can't see. And I see it almost as clear as if it was, I mean, it's just like blazingly clear in my mind. Like, what does
mhm,
that bearded dragon have to do with a parrot? And we actually tie that whole entire thing together, for example. That's why we bring in these other animals that are there because there is a relationship to them, either from where they're located at, that they're a part of the small animal trade that might be affected if we do legislation for birds, that it might affect the reptiles, that kind of thing. That area there, that's the parrot tails. That was created by Russ Campbell, he passed away from aortic aneurysm, and Ron sitting there, that was the year he passed. And his big thing that he contributed to Seattle Parrot Expo every year, everybody has this major contribution to it, which becomes this orchestration, right? And what he contributed was this beautiful thing called Parrot Tales. During the pandemic, he actually hand read several of these stories that he had collected over the years. And it was a quiet space for kids to come in and relax and then have
Mhm.
somebody actually read books to them. Every single book has to do with parrots, every single one
It,
of
it
them. And they're all unique stories that have a beautiful storytelling quality to them. So this year,
mhm.
Stephanie Allen has taken his place, and she has taken it all the way to the board. And if you take a look where Ron's sitting right behind there, that's a fireplace and a couch. So these kids are actually just coming right in there, and they can just sit on the couch and relax. And she wears puppets and all these kinds of things and does this parrot tales. You don't see that at any other convention. None.
No, you
Uh,
got, and that's one of the things I love about this event, Debbie, is that you've it's not just, hi, come in, go to the vendors, maybe see a speaker, and then you're done. There's so much more that happens at Parrot Expo, or at Seattle
yes.
Parrot Expo. Talk a little bit about, if you don't mind, talk about the education piece that happens.
Oh gosh. I
Besides this,
mean,
well, you've got the speakers, but in addition
yes,
to
yes,
that.
of course. And of course, this year we're really excited because Cassie Molina is joining us. Who, I mean, she's mind blowing, guys. I mean, I wish any of you guys had the idea of how mind blowing she is and her approach. It's so holistic and so calm and so beautiful. And you almost automatically just start. Yeah, I know how to do that. She's just amazing. But she's,
Mhm.
yeah. So as far as the speakers go, of course, I mean, Danny, oh my gosh, his talk on respiration and avians, he blew my mind away on that one. So, but as far as non-speaker education, obviously I'll be doing the parrot shows that I do everywhere. And in that case, one of the things that I've noticed when we're bringing the parrots before children that I'm seeing is that we're getting an increase in fear, and an increase in learned helplessness, that these kiddos think all these negative things are happening. So what I do is I go in there, and I do this with Seattle Parrot Expo too, and I try to show people an opportunity and to find out and discover the way. Like this guy here, he was nervous about coming up in front of people. Standing in front of people is a huge fear
Mhm.
in the human race, and this kiddo did it, and he was right in front of it, and he didn't mind being in front of everyone. All of a sudden his mind is in front of everyone without thinking at all how he's in front of anyone, because he was all focused on giving the bird that. I think that's the one where we're doing a sharing exercise. So I use the birds to show people how we have to share the whole planet with the
Mhm.
animals and the environment that we're in. And we share it in an urban, low income neighborhood. I mean, it's crazy that, we have all this opportunity for these guys to come and learn. We have tons of kids that come to Seattle Parrot Expo. I'd say probably a good 300 kids come in to the expo, because we do so much emphasis on families and children, which is hard to market, by the
Mhm.
way, because you're marketing to the professional bird people and to the opening of the children and stuff like that too. So it's like you're supposed to only market to one, and we're trying to market to all.
I
So it
I
makes it
think
quite hard.
you have done an incredible job doing that, though, because it does. And Michelle here says Cassie is amazing.
Oh,
Cassie
she's
for
mind blowing. She's mind
I've
blowing. You
known
guys have no
Cassie
idea.
for at least
20
25
years?
years,
Me for
and
20.
we she and I have worked on a board of directors together. And she is a teacher. She's a trainer, obviously, but she is a
Yep.
teacher of people as well, and it's very comfortable. And I think anybody that goes will absolutely benefit from her style and just her
Yep.
information. But when you were talking about the children versus the professionals, with it all coming together, and again, this is what you do with Flight Club. And I think
Yep.
for people who, we've got bird clubs out there who are still having events, who are still,
Yes.
doing events, not the scale that you're doing maybe, but I think that's an important message for them, is you how to balance that. And
Oh,
has that
let me
evolved?
tell you, it's not easy to
Yeah.
balance it. Because I mean, people think, oh, well, if this kids come, they're the parents just let them go, and it becomes this, we become the kids' babysitters. I'm like, no, no, no. We actually really target keeping the adult engaged with the child, and that's even harder. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
really, really hard because most of us, I mean, I know a lot of us, they're like, ah, hey, I got birds. I don't need to deal with people. Thanks,
Yeah. Right.
And I get that. But at the same time, the expo is that opportunity to try to get, because we do need those younger kiddos getting
Yeah.
interested into the birds and the avian world,
Mhm.
to, have their own future. I mean, I want them, every show I do, I say to everybody, every show, you save a parrot today, you save yourself tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's the when we talk about kids and we talk about trying to get younger people involved in aviculture, it's so important. And it starts,
So,
I mean, I used to do a program. I know you know Norm Gershons from the Nature Conservancy. And
yes,
I used to do a lot of work with Norm, and we did like Bowl the Planet with kids, and I had little Cub Scouts, and we were getting them. They were all excited that they were saving rainforest, and but it's getting that excitement if you build stewardship from that young age, and maybe it's
yes,
just like that little boy that was in that picture. Maybe he's
yes.
never experienced a parrot up close and personal before, but I think that's where it starts. That's where we get
It
these
totally
kids
does. And
who
I
care.
had one kiddo at one of the expos. We have another picture of her too. Oh, thank you so much, Olivia. But one of the kiddos, we had her, I'm like, well, you have magic. I don't have magic. Yes, you do. What's your magic? And I'm like, just watch, go like this. And if you go like this, my bird will actually might actually show her wings off for you. It's magic. And so she put up her hand and the bird did the wings and her face just went, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
and then the parents were the same. I mean, they were like, oh. And then when I come and approach the shows that I do, I hear all the kids from the playground, it's the parent lady, it's the parent lady. And that's what, or the child that, is a special needs child who stops and the parents stop and they all say, that's the best day that I ever had in my life.
Mhm.
And that's what we try to have so many of those opportunities at Seattle Parrot Expo. I do it obviously with my shows, but I try to then bring it out to this whole entire universe for the expo to try to say, like, this is a taste of the kind of experiences I have. Enjoy the
Mhm.
taste.
And I think, you do an amazing job with that. So I'm new to the area. I come to Seattle Parrot Expo. What can I expect from the day?
Number one, it's not in Seattle.
Now I'm confused.
I know. So it's in Auburn, which is south of Seattle. It's about 20 minutes south. It's at a community center, which means it has a public transit system that supports it. See that community center there? Look at that in the
There it
background.
is.
Look at that crazy lady that's got that bird on there. And that's our mascot bird that we have there. And there's Ollie showing off one of Sally Molesino's spoiled bird toys, one of her perches, which will
Mhm.
be at Kiko's Parrots this next
They're awesome.
weekend. Those trees will be there. Anyway, so this is Ollie showcasing that. Dawn, oh my gosh, she's amazing. So sorry, I'm focusing not on the camera, on the pictures there. So Seattle Parrot Expo, you asked, kind of put me back on track because of my ADHD. Sorry. Put me back on track
That's
one time.
okay. So
No, put me
when
back on
I
track.
walk when I get to Seattle Parrot Expo, what can I expect from my day?
There you go. That's what you're going to expect right there. See that? That's when you first walk in the door. And that's Brianna. And she's the artist this year for our shirts.
Mhm.
And she's an amazing volunteer. And yep, there's the shirts right there. There they
I
are.
love them.
She did that artwork, that fine young lady there in the front. And then she is so bubbly and so amazing and so beautiful. Everybody that comes in there, that comes and volunteers, we try our hardest to try to go like, hey, you guys are mind blowing. You guys are
Mhm.
amazing. Without you guys, this would not even be remotely possible. So that's what we try to preview. So we've had people that come in with their like a suit on. That's Kim Hopkins. She's actually going around wearing the Chewy suit. So we have people just doing any kind of unique thing to there. So when you first come in, you're going to be greeted by Brianna and her team. She's going to let you know that you are a good bird, you're a super bird, you're a free bird, or hey, you're just here. Hi, how's it going? We then count everybody in because it's a part of our grant process that we get, because we do get grants to run this, and it's not easy getting them. I apply to at least 30 grants every single year, and we get two. So,
So I'm
and
going to stop
yes,
you right there for one
yeah,
second. So that's
yeah,
something that people need to consider if they want to do a big scale event,
yes.
getting some
You can't
grant
do it without it.
funding. Yeah, I think
Yes,
that's an important thing for people to think about if they want to move forward with something like that.
I
So,
totally agree with
okay,
you, Olivia.
so you check everybody in, and then what can
And
they?
then we have this community center that's kind of in the round. Okay, so the kitchen's the center of the round. So once you come in, you can go off and go do the featured speakers, where the featured speaker talks are going to be in this beautiful lecture hall that's all digital and modern digital connection. And Nick is going to have all these different um, various camera angles, because I'm a person who likes walking around a lot, and good luck keeping up with me. So like that. So that's the featured speaker room there. And I do believe that that is Dr. Isn't that the one who did avian ganglion neuritis? I think so. Can't quite tell the face there. But we have all kinds of people that come in, and I'm trying to remember who that is right now. I'm sorry about that. I feel bad. But anyway, I'm like, oh gosh, too much on my brain. But that said, so we have the featured speaker room, and then next to that is the Parrots of the World Aviary. So there, right now, the current plan is that there's about 40 birds that are going to be in there, including this year we're focusing on the kind of rarer, more unique South American parrots. So there will be blue-throated macaws in there, hyacinth macaws in there. Oh my gosh, there's going to be a Cuban Amazon, a Hispaniolan Amazon, and then there's going to be a non-parrot in there too. So this is last year's setup that we had, and that's the Parrots of the World Aviary. And you can see that people can stop and take a look at it, but this is all hands off. This original
Mhm.
aviary was actually presented to us by Bird Lovers Social Club by Julie Corwin, and then donated to Kiko's Parrots, which then donated it to us. So what we did is changed it up a little bit, had the netting over the top instead of draping down the sides, and that way people can, come in there and see these guys. And this year, according to what I'm hearing, is it's going to be even a bigger space. So we'll see how that goes, because
Great.
my friend Gail Ackerman's in charge of the Parrots of the World. So we'll see how it goes. But then once you're done
Um,
with that, it's like on one end, then you have to go back and then start heading back to the other side of the exhibitors hall, or the official site. And then in the middle is a very unique opportunity. That's where that Parrot Tails is, right? So you saw
mhm.
the Parrot Tails by that fireplace. That leads to a park that's out back. So if you want to go and play in a park all day long, go play in a park. We even have a climbing
Great.
wall. I mean, it's crazy. And then, so you keep going past the Parrot Tails, and then you get into the Parrot Games. Now, the Parrot Games is what is always the stepchild of Seattle Parrot Expo. That bad boy, when we've had our very first Seattle Parrot Expo, everybody's like, Debbie, we are not doing children's games. We're not doing it. And I'm like, yes, we are. If I'm going to run it, we're having children's games. And so we have children's games, and we are encouraging adults to play. So we have stuff like walk like a parrot. You strap on feet like a parrot. And I think Olivia, I took some feet to Parrot Festival once. And I think it was Olivia
Yes.
that was walking around in them, if I remember correctly. And then we also have parts of the parrot cornhole that adults could play at a distance or children up close. We have a parrot ball game. You have to hold it with your elbows and try to throw a ball into a basketball hoop. So that way people can feel what it's like to be a parrot, to use different parts of your body you normally wouldn't use, and how parrots do that too.
I
And
think
then
it's
in that area, huh,
I'm really glad that you kept that because I think that's a really it gets the kids engaged. And so
yeah,
they're thinking, I'm having fun and they're learning at the same time.
but
And
the
it's
parents have fun teaching the kids to do it too. You watch them, like I have a little foraging game where you have to wear like parrot puppet, and you're actually trying to get the
Mhm.
four, like you have to get all the items off in 1 minute.
Nice.
And for the adults, it has to be all of them. For the kids, it only has to be three.
I
But the
love
adults
it,
can't
and
do
I
it.
think
And I'm like, ha, 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 I can.
and I think this is something that people who are looking at hosting an event, then that's something that to consider is you're engaging them. They're learning, they're thinking, and maybe they don't, want to run out tomorrow and buy a parrot, which is probably a good thing.
Actually,
But
most of
they're
them don't.
intrigued.
Most of them, when they leave, they are not like, hey, I want a parrot today. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
No,
no,
not
and I think
really.
that's great. And
Yeah.
then, so after the kids' games, you've got an incredible vendor hall, right?
Yeah. But you know what's even more incredible is when you're
Did I miss
walking
something?
through the hall to get to the vendor hall.
That's right.
And that's the
That's
hall of
right.
knowledge where we have all these QAs that you lift as you go in there. And then this
Mhm.
year, our $1,000 plus Spix McCaw sponsor, Above the Ground Floral, she's putting in a whole entire rainforest, like a whole rainforest in there. And she's going to hide so many parrots in there. I'm not going to even know how many are in there. And
That's so
whoever
fun.
knows how many parrots are in there gets a free raffle ticket.
That is
So
so
that's a
much
little bit of the
fun.
rainforest that we had last year. We had some stuffed parrots in there. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to have live plants. We're going to have waterfalls. It's going to be really quite cool. And I can't wait to see it.
So I think this is another good lesson for people or tidbit
Yeah,
or tip that you utilize the community center, you utilize all that you have access to. It's not like,
correct.
oh, I have to walk down this boring hallway and go to the vendor hall, or oh, I have to go over here to the speaker hall. There's something going on keeping you engaged and interacting throughout the whole center.
Yep. And like the front, like if there's a front hall too, that, like I said, because it's in the round. So that's that parrots, that's then is the hall of knowledge. So that is like question answers that you lift yourself. So
Mhm.
that area is an area I would love to have a volunteer at to kind of challenge people with questions. But that one is self-discoverable. So like, are all parrots endangered? What do you think, Robin?
I'm going to go with no.
Correct. Yeah. Do all parrots have to live in warm temperatures?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking quite a few don't. So there's
Right.
questions like that that might be in there that are a little simpler, but then we have things a little bit more complicated, like the actual feathers on the birds. What are their functions? What bird did it come from? Can you tell?
Right.
So it's kind of fun. Yep.
Very
Oh,
cool.
oh yeah. We also have
So,
a face painter in that hall to the front. There's a face painter that goes there too. So I mean, like you said, everywhere you go, something's going on.
so Olivia and Kayla want you to fly them up and they'll be your volunteers.
Uh, they could fly up and we'll take them. I mean, we got a volunteer room for them, but we can't pay for them. That's for sure. I
There
mean,
you
we
go.
would love you
But
guys to come up, especially Olivia. Well, both of you guys
you
organize
guys
it.
could leave now. If you leave now,
Yeah,
you could be there in time. I'm just
yeah.
saying. Just a
Or you do what I
suggestion.
do, which is you drive at 90 miles an hour and you can be there if you leave on Thursday. You can be there in time.
There you go.
But you have to go there really
Um,
fast. So, oh, I'm sorry. I did not admit that on Facebook, did I? Oh my gosh.
no, not at all. You meant
Not at
just
all. No, I don't.
your
I drive
brain
safe.
was moving fast. That's what you
Exactly.
meant.
It's my brain that moves that speed, not the car.
All right, so now we need to get down to some of the Eli says hi, by the way. He started dancing
Hi,
when he heard voice
Eli. And hi,
vibration.
Kayla. We
Um,
love you, Kayla. I love playing with Kayla at Parrot Festival every year. So, hi, Kayla.
so let's talk about some of the on some of the challenges, if you will. So budget.
Yeah, there's a
How do
lot
what does
of
that
things.
look like?
Oh
What
my
do we
gosh.
need what
So
do
right
people need to
now, the
consider?
current operational budget of Seattle Parrot Expo, because like say for example, we're running an I-5 corridor electronic billboard. That
Mhm.
sucker all by itself is $5,000. The building all by itself is $7,000. Um, the programs, which everybody's trying to tell me to get away from print, which I don't disagree, but I also am a person who, when I go to events and I'm a sponsor, I like having my paper. I'm a paper freak still. Maybe because I'm an 80s girl. I don't know.
Right here.
But yeah, see, I like my paper. I like having that
Mhm.
in my hands. But that said, so we have programs. That's like, $3,000. We're working on the programs right now. Shirts cost $2,400. So, and then much less flying in the speakers, much less helping Nick out with all of his AV equipment and stuff. So our budget's right around $50,000 to run the whole
Okay.
thing. So we need to make
Yeah.
money above that to
So
like have any operational costs for the year.
I think we don't want to
No.
scare people off from smaller clubs doing
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
So it is doable for less than that, but to have
Oh, yes.
an expo to the magnitude that you guys have, that's where you're at. And
Yes.
how do you do fundraising? What kind of things do you do?
Oh, thank you. Lots of fundraising. First and foremost, we've now combined my educational program and shows with Flight Club. So now, as a combination, that's what's helping keep everything stable over the course of the entire year. So that's our first source
Mhm.
of fundraising is doing shows and getting various compensations that we ask as donations to get. Then we do things like the LA Pet Fair that we just did this year. That was crazy. And that was like a last minute. Steve Duncan calls me up and says, "Hey, you're a pretty good representation of aviculture. And they're doing this whole like bird area in Las Vegas, Los Angeles. Can you come out?" And I'm like, it's my summer show season where I make most of my money. I really can't. I'll pay you. Okay. So we went to LA and it was a rough it was a hard road trip.
Mhm.
Ellen, my beautiful best friend who I'm in her house right now, almost literally I semi ran her off the road and she's like, "Oh my God, I almost died, but I'm not gonna die with someone else's birds in my car. No way." So that's the kind of team we have.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we do things like that. So we do a lot of these, like we are partners with a reptile show. That's about a 10,000 person show. And we do a lot of work with them. We try to do lots of partnerships between parks and different events. Obviously, we partner up with NP, and now it's National Parrot Foundation
Right.
versus NPRPF. And we come out there and we volunteer there too. And then obviously we try fundraising there. So
Mhm.
it's like everywhere all the time anyway. And then we have, oh yeah, by the way, a giant epic sale. And that sucker made us $3,000, but that was like 3 tons of stuff,
Yeah.
like a giant garage sale that we got.
And people can donate at flightclubfoundation.org as well. You have a donate
Oh,
button.
yes.
There we go.
Namaste to those who would donate on our websites. To anyone who has a nonprofit organization, please use our donate buttons. We would appreciate you for using them.
Absolutely.
There you
All right. So we've got the ugly money side of things kind of discussed.
Yeah.
Volunteer. Can they buy that T-shirt if they don't come to the expo?
Yes, you can buy them online. They
Oh,
will go online. Once we're live at Seattle Parrot Expo, they will go online as well. Once the
right.
expo closes, though. So when the
Okay.
expo closes, they will be available because obviously we can't like pull shirts and then like trying to sell live. That's going to be really hard. So we sell live first, and then what's left, we then open it up to the store and then send it off. But if you're a super bird, you get that shirt sent to you like right
Nice.
away. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So volunteers. How do we
Yes.
how do you get volunteers?
Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of talking to people all the time, all year long, at every single thing that I do everywhere, which is about 95 shows a year, and talking to people, and they talk to people, and then they talk to people. And then the membership is another big draw that we draw from is the membership. A lot of it's members of Flight Club
Okay.
or board members of Flight Club because we have about
Mhm.
13 people on our board. And then a big one, like right now, I just like there's a construction guy that's sitting right out here just putting in a water main. And I'm like, "Hey, Seattle Parrot Expo's coming. You know, want to come?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, I'll bring my kids." All right, great. And then "Hey, do you want to volunteer?" Because my kid works in theater. So I ask all these people because I have a kid in theater class, "Hey, do you guys want to come and get community service points? Do you want to get like points for military points?" We've tried that as well.
Mhm.
This year, I will say that we actually have to hire labor. It's going to look like we're going to have to hire labor to actually pack up Seattle Parrot Expo because last year was really difficult. We ended up having to
Mhm.
stay till almost 1 o'clock in the morning packing,
Oh my
and that was
gosh.
very bad. And we're never never going to experience that again. So I'll never do that to a volunteer ever again. So
So
yeah, we're
according
having to
to
hire people.
Ron, according to
Yeah.
Ron, you tricked them into volunteering. Just
Oh,
saying.
maybe that is that what it is? Is it
That's
that
what it is.
magic I was telling you about earlier? Like
Ron,
you
don't
will
tell
come.
everybody her secrets. Come on. Um, so how did you so if people are like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do some event with my club,
Yeah.
um, how do you choose a location?
In our case, we started originally in a really tiny location called Lake City Community Online. So an easy choice. And then that building was only $20 an hour to rent. Oh my gosh. Way easy choice. Very, very
Yeah.
inexpensive. That's what gave us our base money to even start Fight Club Foundation, was because Seattle Parrot Expo cost almost nothing. At that time, the budget was $5,000. So for those of you who wanted to do a small event, oh yeah. But what was crazy at that first small event that we did, we had the Seattle Times there. We had, I guess, people were invited that were like dignitaries and stuff like that. There were like 1,500 people at our very first event. And I was like, I'm not ready for this. I was expecting it to be small. So that was kind of hard. And then the next one's kind of dropped down. We moved over to Tukwila, trying to stay in the Seattle area. And that particular park area is kind of more in an industrial area. So people
Mhm.
didn't go there as much, even though it's a community center. We were trying to focus on community center, because community centers, we know parents and children are
Mhm.
more likely to join than at, like, say, a hotel, which I,
Yep.
obviously we do a lot of conferences at. And I've seen that as a trend again and again. What I've seen, a lot of people wanting to come if it's at a community center. So that's
Okay.
why we're focusing on that. But I will say this, we might have an opportunity at a racetrack that we might
Yeah, that's
move
kind
to next year. We will see.
of got to keep
We
the
will see.
options open.
Yes,
So,
yes. But it's still in the city of Auburn. So because there is a racetrack right here too, which is interesting, and a whole
okay.
entire concert hall here too, where traffic is really fun when the concerts go off. But
I'm
and we're
sure.
talking not small we're talking Pat Benatar, White Snake,
Ex-
and things like that that come into Auburn. I mean Auburn, my city, and they're coming. So
Well, it's a good place to be.
I guess so.
So what about vendors? How do you how do you find vendors? Because honestly, I've wrestled with this because I've thought about it would be kind of cool to do an event in Maine, in the north, way up north.
Yes, and Maine
Um,
needs it. Maine needs
well,
it.
yeah,
I mean,
I
every region needs it.
absolutely agree.
But
But
yeah, it's like trying to
vendors,
drag knuckles and teeth across.
right?
Come on, you can do it. Come on, especially with the economy right now, it's been really, 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 really difficult with the economy. And
Okay,
a lot of people are like, I can do it. Oh, wait, nope, not I can't. I got to go to the hospital instead. I can do it, but oh, wait, nope, nope, nope. I have to take care of these animals over here instead. So yeah, it's difficult finding them. But what I do myself, and what I encourage anyone else who wants to do an event, is that you go to other events. I mean, that's
mhm,
how you get them. That's how Jeff, he's my mentor on that, on event planning, who does
mhm,
Pack Wars. I mean, that's 10,000 people easy every single show that he does. And he does charge an admission fee. And he keeps like, Debbie, you should charge an admission fee. I'm like, yeah, we'd make a lot more money. There's no question about it. But at the same time, we won't have people who don't have as many opportunities in their life to see exotic
mhm.
and strange animals, because accessing zoos for some of these people now is getting very difficult.
Yeah.
And zoos aren't coming to the schools as much anymore. That's becoming very difficult. So
Mhm.
we're trying to be that broach to try to get these kids at least have some experience with unusual animals, so they can not be afraid of them, because there's so much fear I'm seeing.
So Nick asked
It's
a question here, Debbie. What do you think the draw is to reptile shows that bird shows don't seem to have?
I That's a good question. And that's a really hard question to answer. But what I've seen is that at reptile shows, you can buy an animal. And that seems to be what it is. Like, you can get a really cool, unique bred animal, and you can get it right then and there. And with birds, like we just did the LA fair, right? And they did have live birds for sale right there. Boom. We don't, but they did.
Yeah.
And when they did, there was a lot of people there. They saw things, but they weren't anywhere near as packed as those reptile buildings were.
Yeah.
I mean, and all the
I
people
think
were right there. We're talking 40,000 people were there, but only 10,000 of those 40,000 people came through the bird area at the
hmm,
LA fair. So,
right.
and that's with me doing a show in there. And then when I did the shows in there, 1,000 people would show up and just crowd the show area, which was
Right.
cool. But, and then you can buy birds there. But I think it's the whole, that birds are that whole sentient being, intelligence thing that makes it difficult, maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
I don't
think
know.
more goes I think it's a longer commitment in most cases,
Yes.
getting a bird. And but I do think that's probably what it is. And I think it's kind of a double-edged sword that we have to
Yes.
balance on because, you
Yep.
know, I did the Nashville Exotics show
Yeah.
and I watched people take a bird home that they didn't know what they were doing. It was an unweaned bird, and which is completely bad business. Um, but then I know that, like I think Sarah Robinson was on here earlier, and I know Sarah was there at that same show, and I know that she is incredibly reputable and sold birds at that event. And so it's just a matter of balance. And I think as somebody who is running an event like this, you just need to be if there is going to be livestock for sale. I think people just need to be very careful that they're vetting the people, their vendors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the reptile show, the one that had the birds there, they let it be open for anybody who is a bird thing because it's brand new for free. So all the booth spaces in that whole building was free, just to try to attract the attention. And they got a lot
Mhm.
of attention attracted, which was good. And but at the same time, like you're saying, you do have to be so careful because I was in there, and just kind of like watching people interact in certain ways. And I would find myself going to them and going, well, watch this. It looks like magic, doesn't it? And I'm not touching the bird at all. And the birds are doing this and this and this and this and this. I'm like, how are you doing that? And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? So make sure not to be just reaching for them and trying to stop doing
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Just not.
yeah. So yeah, no, that's one of the things I made sure of and that we tell people all the time. No animals are for sale. We want you to push the enrichment. We want you to
Mhm.
push the pieces for the enclosure. We want you to push the coolest cage, the coolest toy, the coolest foraging devices, the coolest food. Sell the food up the yang. Sell the best food out there. Sell it at
Mhm.
maybe a lower price. Maybe cut yourself a little bit just so everybody can get started on that food and realize
Right.
how much better that bird is on that food. Stuff like that.
And again,
Anything. Yeah.
that all circles back to education, though.
Yes, it
Even when you're
does.
looking at who you want to have as vendors, you want people who are willing to educate, not just push the product
Yep.
out. Yes, you want your vendors to
Yep.
have a successful show, but at the same time, you want them to be people who are invested in the product that they're
Yes.
selling, who are invested in making sure that the correct message is getting across. Um,
Absolutely.
so, all right. Um, there's just so much that we could talk about, Debbie, but
Oh, I know. We can go on all day.
I want you to tell people how they can register and how they can, and how do they sign up either online or in person? How does that work?
Okay. So as a volunteer, we're looking for volunteers still. And the volunteer areas that we need the most in are greeters, the people who like that greeting table, that beautiful table. We have about 6 people at each day that really should be there and give everybody breaks and stuff like that. So to get to be a volunteer there, if you do 4 hours, you get a free volunteer shirt. I don't know if Nick has the volunteer shirt or not. I did put it on our last meeting. I don't know if he's got an image of it, but you get a free volunteer shirt if you work 4 hours or more. How do you sign up? Use our contact form. It's on www.flightclubfoundation.org/contact us.
Okay.
So you can then sign up as a volunteer that way. And then our volunteer coordinator this year is Allie Moreland. And so she will be the one who is doing that coordination, which is good. And then the other one is to see Cassie Molina. She is a paywall. Everybody else, though, I have some news for you guys. The whole entire Seattle Parrot Expo planning committee said Sunday is free and it will be on Facebook Live. So all
Nice.
the Sunday talks are for everybody to experience, to get a taste of what it's like to experience Seattle Parrot Expo. So, and the kind of education that we bring. So, Danny Sigmund's talk on avian respiration is free on
Mhm.
Sunday. The Dr. Evie Voltura, PhD, she's a brand new PhD. She's doing her postdoc. She's working at the Schubot Center right now, doing a study in
Mhm.
nutrition on parrots. And she's going to come and do a talk about the connection of conservation with nutrition. And then the third one on that Sunday that's going to be free is Jack Pine. My God, Jack Pine. He's, I love Jack. I love him like I love you. And so Jack
Okay.
Pine will be free. So that's free. And it means that you can sign up as a free bird. So that would be www.flightclubfoundation.org/attendee dash registration. So free bird. It doesn't matter if
Okay.
you're there or not. Just sign up as a free bird. That's fine. You'll say that you're either online or in person, but the more information we get from all the different locations that we're at that you guys are signing in on, the better grants that we can give them as our actual grant process. We're not going to have your name on there. We're just going to say how many people and where they're from when we do the
Nice.
grant application. Because they always ask us, like, oh, is there really an interest? Is this for real? Is this something that's real? Is this something that's
Mhm.
worth it to my investments for grants? So that's what the free birds are for. Then the good birds obviously help us with our immediate fundraising need and your immediate need to help you keep your birds stable in your house long term. So that is the good bird registration, $75 for 4.5 hours with Cassie Molina.
It's worth
And you
it.
get a swag bag. The swag bag weighs like 3 pounds. It's full of stuff for you and your bird. So that's $75. But if you do 150 as a super bird, 5 birds can be in the room being trained with the whole class and Cassie. 5. We've got 1 bird signed up as of this talk right now.
Mhm.
So we have 4 more slots, but only super birds can bring some birds there. And that's 150 to be a super bird. But that also includes getting the shirt. It also includes us feeding you 2 meals for the whole weekend and a whole bunch of other bonuses that we have that are pretty long and to do that.
Nice.
So, but obviously that's our biggest fundraiser amount to help, obviously pay for all the speakers to
And you can
be at
scan
And
the
Seattle
then
Parrot Expo.
QR code to sign up now.
the QR
Yes,
code to sign
sign
up
up now.
now.
Now,
Right now.
like right now.
And then Ron says, let people know what we have coming this year. Think pink.
Oh, yeah. We don't know about that, Ron. That's still kind of in the air right now. My dearest,
Oh,
beautiful friend. Yeah, my dearest, beautiful friend, Carol Stanley was planning on bringing her flamingos. And my God, she was so excited. Was just, I can't wait. All these kids are going to be there and it's going to be so much fun. I'm like, you're right. And she got really, really sick at ASA. So we'll see. It's still on a hold. But if you
okay.
guys, we might, if somebody can drive her from California to us, we can have flamingos.
Okay. All right.
But it's
So
it's
that's a
we'll see.
possibility.
And it's still only
So
only 7 days away, so it's kind of interesting.
yeah, it's a
Oh yeah, the
couple
auction.
weeks, will be fine. And then what?
Exactly.
Um, okay. Anything else, Debbie, that people need to know?
Yeah, the auction. Now, Nick has a really
Okay,
good plan right there, right? Did you say that down there?
go
32
for it.
auctions. We have a live auction going on right now, and it includes a brand new cage that's good for an Amazon. Brand new
Nice.
in the box, donated. And it's got Aronico's extra large net on there. It's
Sweet.
going to have shortly, after this meeting here, I'm going to be putting on, there's a gift certificate to Jewelry Designs by Dawn for $100. That's going to go up.
Nice.
And the best one is Cassie Molina's one-on-one consultation worth $540 gift certificate for you to help you with your birds' problems.
Nice. So they can check. Is that Nick? Does that QR code go to that?
Yes,
I
it
didn't
does.
see the
Let me
QR
get it
code.
back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got that. We've got the QR code for
Yeah,
the.
and Jody and I usually have a big bidding war between for that net. So beware.
So.
Yeah, beware.
And Lisa says, remember, it's in Auburn, not in Seattle.
Yes. And on that note, thank you, Lisa. On that note, we officially can state it's official now that Seattle Parrot Expo next year is changing its name.
To
World Parrot
Drummond.
Expo.
That's exciting. That's very exciting. World Parrot Expo. That is very exciting. Congratulations.
Yes.
I think
Yeah, because
that's going to
we're
be
kind
big.
of tired of like saying Seattle Parrot Expo, but it's really not in Seattle.
So,
It's really funny.
all right.
Okay, here's the funniest one. We were just at the Puyallup Fair, and that was a big last minute invite too, by our friend Bob Dawson with Macaw Rescue and Sanctuary. He's got about like 300 birds on his property, waterfowl, 2 parrots. I mean, he's got a lot of birds there. And he's like, I'm not bringing my parrots to the fair. And I'm like, okay, I can understand why. But if we can work on accommodations enough to make it safe enough for my birds to go, like they have to be able to leave. And then we worked on that accommodation. It worked out. We could take the birds. Everything worked out. But that said, when we were at the fair, one of the things that happened there, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, I hate that.
You were talking about the changing the name to World Parrot Expo and what
Oh yeah, that's
happened.
what it was. So every guest that came in there, we said, okay, Seattle Parrot Expo, come to it. And they're like, this is what they did. Oh, it's in Seattle. And so we're like, no. It's in Auburn. It's in Auburn. It's in Auburn. And they're like, oh, thank God.
So Olivia wants you to be like Cirque du Soleil or the Renaissance Festival and travel. So we're going to put on a traveling expo. I mean,
Maybe
Olivia, were you
we'll
not
see.
listening about
Right
how
now, it's
difficult it
so
is?
expensive to do it where we are, so we'll see. Right
All
now, we get
right.
a grant. That's the other last part is that we do get a grant to be where we are by the city of Auburn. So that's one of the reasons why we stick within the city too.
It makes sense. But I want to thank you, Debbie, and I hope that next weekend is fantastic, and I'm sure it will be.
Me
You do
too.
such a nice job. Um, but again, thank you so much. And I do have we had aviculture has taken a lot of hits this year. It's been rough, and in particular, this month we lost a huge heart. Um, James Weeks, who was the founder of Straw Hat Parrots, passed away on September 11th of this year. And James was one of the biggest hearts I've ever met. He is, he was, he free flew his birds. He worked with rescue. He worked with the community. He had an incredible rescue. We visited him on the Rockstar tour. So I just want to have a moment of silence to remember this amazing man who is gone all too soon. Thanks. And if everybody can keep James's wife Alicia and his stepkids in your thoughts, that would be really special. If you didn't have a chance to interact with him or meet him, I'm sorry, but yeah. So it's
Yeah,
been
that
tough.
was a big shocker for me because I didn't
Yeah,
ever get to meet him before, and all of a sudden I was told about it, and I'm like, how did I ever not know?
he was
I feel
incredible.
so
He was really, like I said, we stopped and saw him at the on the Rockstar tour, which I don't know. You never know if the Rockstar tour might just end up in Auburn next year.
it just
Just
might.
saying. So keep your eyes on that, you guys. You never know where the Rockstar tour is going to go, but it might be Auburn. So, all right. Thank you again, guys. If anybody's interested, the foraging flock, you can join on the leatherelves.equid.com, become a member, and we'll be doing monthly get togethers. We should be having a lot of fun. And we are going to be taking a break next week since Nick is so popular that he's going to be at Seattle Parrot Expo bringing his kind of genius from Seattle Parrot Expo. So I get another night off. Nick has to work. But Debbie, he's all yours next Friday. So you
We
guys
love you,
take
Nick.
care.
We love you,
Thank you again,
Nick.
Debbie, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. And if you think of anybody you'd like to see on Flock Talk, just let me know. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.